in the first part of Indigo, we found that Rajkumar Shukla and Gandhi failed to meet Rajendra Prasad because the latter was out of the town when these two people visited his home. What did they do then? Gandhi decided to go first to Muzaffarpur, which was en route to Champaran. En route. En route. It means on the way. Gandhi decided to go first to Muzaffarpur, which was en route to Champaran, to obtain more complete information about conditions than Shukla was capable of imparting. He accordingly sent a telegram to Professor J.B. Kripalani of the Arts College in Muzaffarpur, whom he had seen at Tagore's Shantiniketan school. The train arrived at midnight, 15 April 1917. Kripalani was waiting at the station with a large body of students. Gandhi stayed there for 2 days in the home of Professor Malkani, a teacher in a government school. It was an extraordinary thing in those days, Gandhi commented, for a government professor to harbor a man like me. In smaller localities, the Indians were afraid to show sympathy for a decade of home rule. This is another interesting episode, that when they failed to meet Rajendra Prasad in Patna, Gandhi wanted to go first to Muzaffarpur en route to Champaran. Their final destination is Champaran. But before going to Champaran, since they failed to meet Rajendra Prasad in Patna, Gandhi decided to go to Muzaffarpur, which was en route to Champaran. En route means Muzaffarpur was on the way to Champaran. Why did he decide to do so? Because he wanted to meet someone there to get more accurate, more clear information about the situations prevailing in Champaran. Because Rajkumar Shukla, as we all know, he was a poor peasant, he was unlettered. So the way he described the things to Gandhi, Gandhi possibly wanted to get a better account of the things, a better account of the situation in Champaran. So he wanted to know from some educated fellow. And when he failed to meet one educated fellow, Rajendra Prasad, he is going to meet another one, and his name is Professor J.B. Kripalani. Professor J.B. Kripalani, he accordingly sent a telegram to Professor J.B. Kripalani. That was the fastest mode of communication at that time. Telephone was there, very limited numbers were there, very rarely you will find telephone at that time. But for public use, telegram was the fastest. And how much fast was it? It will take 2 to 3 days if you send a telegram about the death of someone has died at someone's home. If he sends a telegram to someone in Mumbai from Delhi, such and such person has died, so 2 days later the person will come to know the news of the death. That was the fastest mode of public communication at that time. And what is the situation now? You know, 2 years, possibly 2 years early, our government of India has stopped the usage of this telegram because no user is there. No one goes to the telegram office for any telegraph. It has become something out of date. Anyway, so Gandhi sent a telegram to Professor J.B. Kripalani. Who was Kripalani? Professor J.B. Kripalani was a teacher in the Arts College in Muzaffarpur, and Gandhi had earlier met him in Tagore's Shantiniketan school. These small things you should learn very well about J.B. Kripalani, where he was a teacher, when did Gandhi meet him, in which place he met him, etc. The train arrived at midnight, 15 April 1917. On 15th of April 1917, the train carrying Gandhi and Rajkumar Shukla, it reached Muzaffarpur, and they landed, and Kripalani was waiting at the station with a large number of students. Gandhi stayed there for 2 days in the home of Professor Malkani. So in Muzaffarpur, Gandhi stayed in the house of one Professor Malkani. Who was Professor Malkani? Professor Malkani was a government school teacher, and Gandhi stayed at his home for 2 days. And Gandhi said that Malkani let me stay at his home for 2 days. I was a guest at his home for 2 days, and it was a great thing. It was an extraordinary thing on his part. How come it's extraordinary? If someone who is really a hero, if Amitabh Bachchan comes and he wants to stay at your home, will it not be great on your part to be the host of Bachchan? Yes. For Gandhi, someone has got Gandhi as his guest. This person should be really happy. But Gandhi is saying, no, this man Professor Malkani allowed him to stay at his home for 2 days. It was an extraordinary thing on his part. Why extraordinary thing? Because in those days, Gandhi said, government employees, they did not give support. They did not give shelter to anyone who was in favor of India's freedom movement. Gandhi was in favor of India's freedom movement. Gandhi wanted the departure of the British from India, and you being an employee of the British government, how come you are supporting someone who is against us? The British government will punish this person because the British was ruling our country, and anyone who was against the British rule, in their eyes, he was an offender. He was going against the government. Nowadays also you see when someone speaks against the government, he is brought to book, he is sent to jail, etc. Since Gandhi was in favor of India's freedom and British was ruling our country, so if you allow Gandhi to stay at your home, police may come and interrogate you. Why are you allowing someone who is working against our system, against our government? So in smaller localities, Indians were afraid to show sympathy for advocates of home rule. Here the word advocate does not mean lawyer. Advocate here means supporters. Advocates of home rule. Home rule means rule of the land. Home rule means freedom movement here. So those who are supporting freedom movement, Indian people who were government servants were afraid to show sympathy to them, to support them, to give shelter to them. But in spite of all these things, Professor Malkani allowed Gandhi to stay at his home for 2 days. That's why Gandhi said it was an extraordinary thing on the part of Malkani to let Gandhi, to harbor him, it means to give shelter to him at his home. Then what happened? Gandhi was in Muzaffarpur now. He was staying in the home of Professor Malkani. The news of Gandhi's advent and of the nature of his mission spread quickly through Muzaffarpur and to Champaran. So when Gandhi was staying for 2 days in Muzaffarpur at the home of Professor Malkani, the news spread. See the word spread. Spread is a verb whose past and past participle are the same. Spread. Don't think its past is spreaded. Spread, past is spread, past participle is spread. There are many other verbs. For example, cut, the same is the case. Quit, the same is the case. Put, the same is the case. Their past and past participle are the same. There are some other examples also. So, which news spread? The news that Gandhi's advent. Advent means arrival. Advent, it means arrival. Gandhi's arrival in Muzaffarpur, the news of Gandhi's arrival in Muzaffarpur, the news spread really very fast. And the news of Gandhi's advent and of the nature of his mission, that this is a man, he has this kind of mission, he works for the poor people, he works for the downtrodden people. This news spread quickly to Muzaffarpur and to Champaran also. Sharecroppers from Champaran began arriving on foot and by conveyance to see their champion. So people started coming to Muzaffarpur to see Gandhi. Sharecroppers started arriving on foot. Some people came on foot and some others came by conveyance. Conveyance means vehicles. What vehicles were available at that time? Not this Innova car, etc. They were animals like elephant or horseback were the conveyance. So some people came on foot, some people took some vehicles, maybe bullock cart, etc. With those things they came. And they came to see their champion. Champion means hero. Who was the hero? Gandhi himself. Muzaffarpur lawyers called on Gandhi to brief him. Lawyers of Muzaffarpur, advocates of Muzaffarpur, they also approached Gandhi and they told Gandhi that we are the people who are working for these poor people. We support them in the court. This is how we are working for them. This is how we are helping them. And they briefed Gandhi. The word brief, the word brief, it is used as an adjective. It means not large. Brief, it means small in size. But as a verb, it means to give an account. To give an account. You brief someone, it means you give someone an account of what is happening somewhere. So the lawyers of Muzaffarpur, they briefed Gandhi. They gave Gandhi an account of how people are suffering, how poor peasants are suffering, and how those lawyers are helping them in the court. They briefed in Gandhi about this. They frequently represented peasant groups in court. They told him about their cases and reported the size of their fee, how much fee they take from the peasants in return for advocating in favor of them in the court. They told Gandhi about the amount of fees that they take from the peasants, and this made Gandhi really angry. He reacted. Gandhi chided the lawyers. Chide is the next word that may be new to you. Gandhi chided the lawyers. Chide. Chide means to scold. Chide. Scold or rebuke. Gandhi chided the lawyers. He scolded the lawyers. Why? For collecting big fee from the sharecroppers. This will be a question, why did Gandhi chide the lawyers? Gandhi is a guest, he is a renowned person, he has come here and the people are telling him, we are helping the poor peasants in this way. And then Gandhi is chiding them. Why chiding? Because the amount of fees that they were taking, this made Gandhi unhappy. He chided the lawyers and for collecting big amount of fee from the poor people. Then Gandhi said, I have come to the conclusion that we should stop going to the law courts. Taking such cases to the court does little good. Where the peasants are so crushed and fear-stricken, the real relief for them is to be free from fear. Gandhi then told them that stop going to the law court. Law court cannot help you. Why? Because in Gandhi's view, there should be something else to be done first. Court has its limitation. If you suffer, if someone attacks you at night, will court come at midnight to your home and to help you? Court, if you go to court for getting some legal justice, it's a long procedure, In India especially, getting legal justice is a matter of long time. So, if you suffer immediately at night, court will not come to your rescue at midnight at your home. You have to file a case the next day if the court is open, provided the court is open. And then you have to take help of a lawyer, and then the judge will see it. It will take a long time. So Gandhi said, there must be something else to be done. What is it? He said, going to law courts is useless. Taking such cases to the courts does little good. It is of little importance. It is of little benefit if you go to court. What is more important than, in Gandhi's view, he said, where the peasants are so crushed means suppressed. They cannot raise their head. Their heads are low. They cannot say anything. They have lost their courage. So when this is the situation, where the peasants are so crushed, when they are so suppressed and fear-stricken, it means their hearts are full of fear. They don't have the courage. When this is the situation, law courts are useless. What Gandhi wants to mean, he tells in the next sentence, he says, the real relief for them. Going to law courts cannot give you permanent relief. If you go to a court, file a case against someone, it will take a long time. But Gandhi wants to give you a long-term relief, a real relief. What is the real relief according to Gandhi? According to Gandhi, the real relief for these poor people is to be free from fear. That is it, yes. If you are free from fear, if you can have the courage and face situations, then only you can ensure a peaceful life for you. If all the time you have fear in your heart, someone will come, they will attack us, they will harm us, and you are depending on the court. Court cannot come to your rescue at any time. So, for getting long-term peace, for getting long-term freedom, then according to Gandhi, people should be free from fear. Fear should first of all be taken away from their heart. Otherwise, going to law courts will not be of any use. Most of the arable land in the Champaran district was divided into large estates owned by Englishmen and worked by Indian tenants. This is another important part of the story. This is the main story is beginning now. In Champaran, most of the arable land, arable means cultivable. The land where cultivation is done, the land where crops are produced, such a land is called arable land. In Champaran, most of the arable land was divided into large estates. Estate means large parts of land, large plots of land, and the owner of this land was the British landlords. Cultivation was done by the poor Indian peasants, but the ownership belonged to the British landlords. Then the chief commercial crop was indigo. Indigo was the main commercial crop. What is a commercial crop? A commercial crop is a crop that you produce for business purpose. You will sell it, you will earn money, you will do business. if you produce something in front of your home, people have it, some kind of things, you have a small garden you have in front of your home, that is not a commercial cultivation. Commercial cultivation is the cultivation where the cultivator does it with a purpose to do business, to sell his products. It's done in large quantity. So, the chief commercial crop was indigo. Now we have got this word indigo. That is it. Indigo was produced in large number. It was very profitable at that time. And since it was very profitable, it was the chief commercial crop at that time. The landlords compelled all tenants, tenant means poor sharecroppers, because they did not own the land. The landlords compelled all tenants to plant 3/20ths or 15% of their holdings with indigo and surrender the entire indigo harvest as rent. This was done by long-term contract. There was a long-term contract. A contract was there between the landlords and the poor Indian peasants that was in practice for long years. What was the contract? According to that contract, the poor peasants, whatever amount of land, whatever size of land was given to each of the peasants, 15% of their land they had to, 15% of the holdings that was given to them for production, they had to produce indigo only. Since indigo was very fruitful, it was very beneficial at that time, very profitable, so the landlords compelled the Indian tenants, the Indian sharecroppers to use 15% of their holdings for producing indigo only, and then whatever indigo production they will get, harvest, entire harvest. The word harvest means the outcome, the product. Entire harvest, entire indigo production they had to surrender to the landlords. They could not take any share. They could not get any portion of the harvest of indigo, because indigo was very profitable at that time. So this was a long-term contract, and this was in practice. This was going on. Presently, the landlords learned that Germany had developed synthetic indigo. They thereupon obtained agreements from the sharecroppers to pay them compensation for being released from the 15% arrangement. Now there was a turn, it was a turning point, because indigo production was very good and it was having good market also. It was very profitable. So the landlords compelled the peasants to use 15% of their holdings for indigo production, and entire indigo production, its harvest should be surrendered to the landlords. But recently what happened, at that time Germany had developed synthetic indigo. What is this synthetic indigo? It is a man-made indigo, artificial indigo. If you have some products in the market which is artificial, you will find there are some advantages. It becomes cheaper. People purchase it easily. For example, this broiler chicken. The natural chicken that we call local chicken, when broiler came, broiler became cheaper in rate. Its price is low and people go for it more often. The same is the case with other things also. When you find man-made or artificial productions are there in the market, its quantity becomes more available and most of the customers go for it because they get it at a lower price. So since Germany had started producing synthetic indigo, the landlords could, with their far-sightedness, they could realize that yes, the production will come to India also. People will start purchasing that synthetic indigo at low price. They will not go for our natural indigo. So they thought that this indigo production will no more remain as profitable as it was. So they wanted to release the poor peasants from this production, and they did not tell them the real story. They told that we will release you from this agreement, that you have to cultivate 15% of our land with indigo and entire harvest should be given to us. This old practice, you are not finding it that easy. You often complain that it is difficult for you, it is a very tough job. Okay, we are going to release you, provided you pay us some fees, some compensation. Pay us some money, and in return for the money, we will free you from production of indigo. We will not compel you anymore to produce indigo. They did not tell them the real story that Germany has developed synthetic indigo and our market will go down. No. They just told them that we are going to release you from it, just pay us some compensation. And the poor peasants, they were really happy. They thought that it is a kind of really relief for us. So they agreed to it. The next part we will see in the next video.